What is up, everyone? My name is Gabe Montoya, and I am here to teach you guys all how to solve a Rubik's Cube. Now, I've done previous tutorials on this, but they haven't been really good, and I haven't been, as efficient on my explanation and explaining, what I'm supposed to do. So that's why I'm making this tutorial here today, because I'm going to be able to help you guys so much, and I know that a lot of people struggle with Rubik's Cubes, they're not the best at it, but that's all right. I'm going to make this tutorial very easy and very understandable for everyone to get it down and to know what you need to know in order to solve one of these things right here, the Rubik's Cube. So without further ado, let's get into it. So we'll scramble it, of course. All right, perfect. So now what you have here is a scrambled cube. And this is what everybody, just dreads, just solving the cube. But today I'm going to make it to where you guys can all solve this thing like it's nothing, If I can do it, you guys can do it. And, I'm going to help you guys all explain it. So the first thing to know whenever you're solving your Rubik's Cube is to know your opposite colors. This isn't necessarily a big thing that you have to know or understand simply just because this is not an advanced tutorial, and this is just like a beginner's method. So the first thing, I'll tell you the opposites though. So always know that your white piece will normally have a logo. As you guys can see here, I got a few other cubes. They've got logos. They've got the Rubik's logo, the QIY or the GAN, and I'm just using my GAN cube because it's my best cube. But anyways, so yes, let's get into it. So always note that there are 6 colors on the cube. There is yellow, green, and white, blue, orange, and red. So the opposites are yellow and white. They're always going to be down from each other. Green is always going to be opposite of blue, and red is always going to be opposite of orange. So the first step in solving your Rubik's Cube is to get a cross. And what a cross looks like is for there to be a bar here and a bar here. So the question is, how do you do that? So the first thing that you have to do is to find a edge piece. And what I mean by an edge piece is a piece that contains one white cube and a different color. So the way that you do this is to find a piece here. And as you guys can see here, this one is already matched up. And quick reminder, knowing what to look for when to solve your cross is so important, and that honestly just goes for about anything. So as you guys can see here, this white piece is in the top layer on top of the yellow, and this is matched up. And this is what I mean when I say matched with its correct center. But the way that you would insert this is to simply just move the front, and remember to always note that you don't ever move your cube, like this, because that's complicated. And a lot of people will get a really big misunderstanding because in a lot of tutorials, people will move the cube, or they'll move it up and they'll move it down and they'll get confused. So for this spot right here, this is what we're going to call number 1. This is a simple case that can be recognized in 3 different ways. It could be in the top layer connected, it could be on the left side connected, or it could be connected on the right side. So no matter what you have to do, just always note that your white is always going to be on the bottom when you're solving your cross. So what you do, if it's in the top layer, if it looks like this, what you do is you move the front face down twice. And that is always when it is in the top layer. If it's on the right, you just have to note that, okay, it takes me 2 to get to the top. If it's on the side, it only takes you 1. And what that does is that pairs this thing up here, and we're ignoring the corner piece right here because we don't have to worry about that just yet. So, and if it's on the left, then it's the same pattern. The clock right here, I like to refer to this as the clock as it's really easy for people to understand. When solving the Rubik's Cube, analogies are really helpful for people that are just beginning. So I like to refer to this as the clock. So the clock, in this case, if it's on the left, will go counterclockwise. And if it's on the right, then it'll go clockwise. So now what that did right there was that put one piece matching with the center. And you guys can notice here, notice this is a very, very important thing. This is when you have a correct move. The center piece matches with the edge piece. So now that you've got that done, let's go find another piece. And as you guys can see here, we have two. We have the white and green, which is paired, and you have the orange, which is not paired. And I want to talk about this orange piece because this is a very common thing that'll happen when you're solving your cross, is that you're going to have a white piece directly facing at you, but it's not going to be orange, because see, if it were orange, then we would just be able to do the clock move, which is not possible because that does not match. So this case right here, to recognize it, is to see you are looking at the center, the orange is facing towards you, but the white that needs to be here, oh, sorry about that, the white that needs to be here is facing here. So, okay, what's the solution? How do you get this piece to here? So we're going to make it very simple. What you do is you move the right side up, you move your, and I like to refer to this as the merry-go-round. This is a very simple analogy, and as you know, for more advanced cubers, this is the up layer. You know, these are always referred to U and U prime, but for me, it's simple because what you have to do is you move the right side up, the merry-go-round will go to the left, and now we'll stop. This is paired up correctly, and this is exactly what we want. We want this piece to be correctly matched up like this. But if you look, that messed our blue side up. And the question is, how do I get my blue side back? Because you don't want to mess it up. So what you did was, you're still facing the orange side. All you have to do is move the right side down. The right side resets this piece. And now look, what did I say previously? When it's in the top layer, just remember, it's always the clock. And it doesn't matter. It could go counterclockwise or clockwise. It's still going to get there the same way. So this is case number one. This is a case number one. And what we had before was a case number two, and I didn't really explain that. This is case number two right here. And this is the way that you recognize it. As I said, you just look for the center and then you look for the white piece. If the white piece is facing you, this will be referred to as case number two for your cross. So what you do here is you move the right side up, the merry-go-round goes to the left, the right side comes back down, so that resets this cross piece, and then the front goes down twice. And what did that do? That matched this cross piece up and this cross piece up. And now what you have to do next is you have to go find your last two that will go here, and you will go here. So here I want to talk to you guys about case number three that you will run into when solving your cross. This is case number three. This is what is a little difficult for people is, okay, so we had case number two looking like this, and we had case number three looking like this. The white piece is in the top layer like we would like it to have on case one, but the red piece right here is wrong. If the red piece were facing the red center, then that would be correct. And that is not the case here, simply because we have this one facing the yellow, where we would rather have it to be the white so that we can insert it correctly. So now the question is, how do you solve case number three? Number three is simple. What you have to do is you have to move the clock clockwise. And a very important note, it doesn't matter. You don't have to do this move right here. I'm just explaining it. But the thing to note is that when you have a case number three, you can honestly treat it simply just like case number two. But if you don't want to do that, that's okay. But the easiest thing for me to do is to, when I see a cross piece like this, what I like to do is that pattern. But if it's in the top layer, I'd like to do the pattern for number two. But if it's in the top layer, like here on case number three, what you have to do is to do this. The clock goes clockwise, The right side comes up. The merry-go-round goes to the left. The right side comes down to set these two back. And now you're back to case number 1. And that's exactly what we want. Case number 1, where we have the white and the yellow facing, and our centers are matched. And you can exactly move that just by doing the front move, which is the clock. And now we have this. We have a bar going down, and we have one more piece to insert. And now this is what we like to call a cube rotation. When you move the entire cube over. This would be just a move. This is a cube rotation. So what you do is you move your entire cube to find the last piece. This is just going by cube rotations. And look at that. Perfect. We have the piece here. And what we do when it's not matching up to a center, so to say, this is another case that people can run into when you're doing your cross. Most people would be like, okay, well, this is white, so I would just, move the face down so that matches. But that's not the correct case because that messes up your orange, and you don't want that. So reset that. So what you do here is you look at whichever piece is facing you, and you have to realize what centers are going. And this is matching. This is the simplest thing to do. What you do is you either figure out which side it goes to. Does it go to the right? And then you can look at that and be like, no, because that is wrong. You can move it over to the right again. You can look at it and say, that's wrong. That's not red. That's green. You can move it over again, move your entire cube until you have matched it like this. And then when you see this, you know it's correct. And what you do is you simply just move it like this, front, front. The clock goes clockwise. And look at what we have so far. We have our white cross. And if you have any questions, please comment down below and check back in for the next video, how to insert the corners.